My fourth would be the Bakuman series. I know Slimbo is familiar with it. I don't know about you, Trigger.
I had a McDonald's toy when I was like 9.
Related to Bakuman?
Yeah, McDonald's did a Bakugan one once.
They had a toy for the writing manga?
I'm sorry, Trigger.
Wait, is that not
Bakugan? Not Bakuman.
Wait, okay. All right, hello and welcome to the Anime Plaza podcast. I'm here with my friends Slimbo and Kifo, and I don't think anyone's hosting this, but I'm Trigger. And today we're say hi.
No, I don't feel like it actually.
Am I the only one talking on this?
Yeah. No. Hi, I'm Slimbo.
Hello guys, I'm Kifo. We'll be the host for today's first episode, and I'm glad to have been invited here by Trigger and Slimbo, my good friends.
Welcome, Kifo.
Yum.
So we wanted to start off by going through our top 5. I don't know if we want to talk for a bit or just go right into it. I'm good either way.
Yeah, I'm fine with whatever, honestly. Like, do we want to just shoot the shit, or do we want to...
My anime opinions are quite bad, so I don't know if I should jump right into it.
I don't know if you're as bad as Trigger. I'm sure you're fine.
Mine's either going to be like all the normie picks or just really bad. So I don't know. Who wants to start?
I kind of like that. I would vote for Trigger on this one.
Yeah, no.
I want to hear those normie takes.
Yeah,
I want to see
takes.
if what I think is normie lines up with what Trigger thinks is normie.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that.
Well, my number 5 is Azur Lane Slowhead.
Slowhead?
Yeah, specifically the
is
spin-off.
That real?
Yeah.
Oh no!
It's the anime that I kicked off my little channel with, and I'm a big fan of Azur Lane, so I like it better than the original anime because it just showcases like the slice of life of the characters more. Probably neither of you have seen it, but
I'm sorry, no.
I've seen it like at least 14 times just to clip it for videos. And it's like the reason I learned to edit in the first place, so I kind of have to put it on. It's not good though.
No, I think that's fair.
But it's nice that it has your personal bias on it, right? Because you started off with Azur Lane, you said, on your channel.
Yeah. Well, it's actually all I do.
Oh.
So it's not good.
No.
But it's the number 5 best anime you've ever seen.
Yeah, definitely.
What's next?
No, I think we should do someone else's 5 and then just
that's a nice
circle
idea.
back so we all go in order.
All
so
right.
we're not just making someone bear the burden of us being like, what the fuck did you choose?
Yeah, and then we can compare all of our 5s and whatnot.
Yeah.
All right. Slimbo, do you want to go next?
Sure. Mine is thanks to a recommendation from Kifo of a show that I wanted to watch for a long time, but never actually got around to. And I think it helped binging it as quick as I did. So waiting was actually a good idea for watching it. And it's Made in Abyss.
Let's go.
I love Made in Abyss.
Yeah, me too. Especially with the new season.
Oh my god, yeah. The Golden City season is the entire reason it's in my top 5.
Yeah.
Not that I didn't like what was before it, but everything
good.
Yeah, everything that happened in season 1 I felt like was really good world building, and gave you a glimpse as to like how dark and dreary and just really messed up the world was that they lived in, or at least involving the abyss itself.
Yeah, and sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like the abyss still feels like something that's super unsolved, even though we've had a couple seasons with it as like the main focus, I would say, of the series. So
yeah,
very cool to give that feeling of dreariness, like you said.
Yeah, it's really grim. It covers a lot of dark and tough to handle topics. which I personally love the fact that it does that. And it presents it in such a unique way that I haven't seen before. And it also has one of my favorite antagonists ever, Bondrude. That guy's fucked up, man.
Oh, man.
To put it lightly, he's fucked up.
Dope is the movie.
Yeah, you gotta watch the movie. Big fan. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorites as well. When I'm looking for shows, I'm always I'm always super invested in stories that are big overarching journeys through a character or two. And yeah, the Made in Abyss world building is crazy.
Yeah,
it feels
I
so
agree.
unique, even though, you know, like a fantasy anime is quite common. Made in Abyss, I don't know, it has its charm for sure.
Yeah. Kifo, do you have a fifth?
Okay, so for fifth place, I'll kick us off with Butchie the Rock.
Ooh,
All right, a recent one.
okay.
Oh
That
yeah,
is a
so
recent one.
I'll take the crown for Zoomer on that one. Butchie to me was a very nice experience because of my bias for the way music is represented in anime. I think music conveys a lot more than words, and the way it's done in this anime, I think was wonderful. I don't know. There's nothing really to spoil in this anime, but just the scenes when you have the entire band performing and you can see their seriousness in their face, which is super contrasted with the slice of life, cute girls doing cute things for the rest of the episode. It really hits something within me. So I think it's a good contender for a top 5 anime for me.
Yeah, I've heard from a lot of people it's like kind of the modern K-On! And it's replaced K-On! For a lot of people. That I haven't seen it myself, but it gets posted everywhere.
You saw K-On! But not Butchie?
I've seen like most of season 1 of K-On!
Okay.
I watched it with do you guys know Ethan and Muko? I watched it with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we just
Nice.
stopped watching at some point and never finished it.
Oh no.
I love Bochi. I thought it was a really, really nice experience from like everything about it, from the countless references to all forms of media, especially obviously the music references, from like in some of the entire visuals being like 1-to-1 for bands like for music videos from bands like Asian Kung Fu Generation,
Yeah.
to stuff like
There's
Beatles
cute
references
winks all over the place. It's so
all of the panel, like the opening panels of the manga are all references to like famous actors and actresses in their shots for their music videos and stuff like that. There's a bunch of different ones. It's really nice. I'm a big fan of, I don't know, just Bochi in general. I think she's a great character. I absolutely love the way her social anxiety is represented, but the fact that she's still so passionate about what she does or what she wants to do and grows as a person throughout trying to achieve that, and just hanging out with her friends making music is really it's a really pleasant watch. I'm a big fan.
It is. It's very lively. It's a very nice watch.
Man, everyone I've heard talk about it says it's so good, but the more I see people posting like images of it, the less I want to see it.
Why is that?
I don't know. It's just like it's just like the
Contrarian.
overused meme or something.
No, you should.
If you guys
I
say
think
it's
you should
good,
give it a
I'll check
shot.
it out.
Oh yeah,
No, but she's so yesterday. You should have watched it.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah, you
should we
need-
move on to 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, kick us off, Trigger.
I think those are all.
Yeah, those were all our 5.
Those are some pretty varied ones. But, all right. Well, my number 4 is Recreators.
Mecha?
Really?
Yeah, a lot of people hate recreators, and I don't think it's perfect or anything, but and I rewatched like half of it recently because I was showing it to someone, and I did remember that the first like 5 or 6 episodes are basically like all exposition, and we both fell asleep during it. but
Are you still sure it's at the 4th spot on your list?
it is.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
But overall, and we didn't actually rewatch the good parts that I liked, but we just like fell asleep to the first 5 episodes and then went to bed.
That's sad.
But yeah, I really like Sawano's music in anime. And even if the story's not good, I'll watch it because it has big robots and Sawano music. And the whole concept of recreators, it goes back to why I like Made in Abyss as well. I just like unique stories that are told in a big spectacle. And recreators, I don't know if you guys know even what happens in that show. Have you seen it?
I have no clue about anything related to recreators personally.
Okay.
I think I watched the first episode and went, that was weird, and then didn't continue.
Slimbo didn't fall asleep though.
I didn't fall asleep, so I think I got one up on you.
Well, episode 1 is great. And then episode 2 to like 5 is where all the exposition is. And I don't remember being bored by it, but I was also just really tired that night. At least on the first watch, like I wasn't. I remember enjoying it thoroughly. But yeah, the whole concept of it, without spoiling anything, is it's kind of like a reverse isekai, where like the writers of different stories, their characters that they've written get moved into the real world, and then those characters meet their writers, and then there's a villain that like basically pulled them all in there, and they're just like
Yeah. No, keep it going.
Okay. Yeah.
they're basically like how do I explain this without spoiling anything?
Don't I listen. I don't think I give a shit, so you can spoil it if you want.
Well, okay, there's like imagine a show where it's like a normal city without magic or powers or anything like that. But then there's like a magical girl anime and basically Persona and basically Guilty Gear and also a giant mech and a bunch of other characters. There's literally a character that has a JoJo stand.
Okay, this is the Shonen Dream.
And they all meet their writers, and they all like pick sides and all fight each other, and it's real good. I just like shows that do something different, and it's not perfect, but
Wow.
it has an ending, and it really sticks it through. So all my picks on here are shows that I acknowledge are maybe not like objectively the best, but they're just the ones I always think back to.
Yeah. Okay.
Speaking
sorry, can I have something to say.
I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
No. So Trigger, do you think like you have like fond memories of it? Because the way you describe it, it sounds like it might be like a young boy's fantasy dream. But do you think like I'm just going off the plot, right? But maybe like it makes up through whatever climax they do in it, and the way the art style is, and the way the characters talk. You know, maybe like the audience is for older people. But the way you described it to me, it sounded like a younger audience.
Yeah, maybe I'm a bit superficial, but
Maybe okay. So it's good because then I get like what amazes you in anime from that, right?
yeah, I just like cool stuff. I like good music in my shows, and it doesn't need to be that deep. But if there's like a lot of passion put into it, and there's a lot of, I really just feel like the writer was trying to make a story that was really cool.
you enjoy like the over the top. The author just went ham with like whatever was going on in their head at the time. So it's good to know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that definitely reflects in other things I do as well, where the games I most enjoy are like Ark and Warframe, and those games are just like big kitchen sinks of ideas thrown in. There's a lot of passion clearly put into them.
Okay. Should we head over to Slimbo
Sure.
for his fourth pick?
To me, my fourth pick is pretty normal. I think it's on a lot of people's top 10 because it's good. Who would have thought, right? Who could have imagined that a show that's good is recognized as good by a lot of people? Steins Gate.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah.
It's a pretty classic anime. It has one of my favorite dynamics between two characters, Makise Kurisu and Okabe Rintaro. The two of them, the way they interact with each other, is an absolute delight to watch. Mm-hmm. It's got time travel, which is cool. Who would have thought? And time travel in anime especially is not very common, I would say.
Yeah, definitely not done well very often at all.
Oh yeah, and that's what I was getting at, is very normally done pretty poorly. Not a fan.
Yeah, I haven't seen much time travel in anime.
Yeah, I think the way it unfolds, I know a lot of people will say like it takes a while to get going, and I completely disagree with that. People always go like, oh, when episode 12 or whatever episode it is hits, it becomes like the best show, and I agree that it's one of the best shows, but I think the way it sets everything up,
Yeah.
is like unbelievably well done from the get-go. And it's all there if you are really willing to digest every little piece of information that's being thrown at you.
I have a question for you, Slimbo.
Yeah, what's up?
Is that something you do? Like when you start an anime, you try to like pick out on minute details right from the start, or you kind of like settle in?
So for me, the way that I view a lot of it is when I'm watching something, I normally go in with whatever base expectation I have, which is normally just, will I enjoy this show or not? I don't expect it to be the best looking thing, the most well written show, anything like that. I go in expecting to find something that I enjoy and then stick to that, and then let everything else like envelop around it. And it's not like a conscious thing, it's more of a subconscious thing where like I'll pick up every piece of information that I'm aware of, and it just sits there. So for a show like Steins Gate, when everything is unfolding from episode 1, but you are not super clear on what's happening because there's so many bits and pieces that you will understand later on, I think that's a really, really powerful tool. And I think being able to digest that and hold on to this information that you're not sure what it's being used for or what it's going to be used for, and watching it slowly unfold, and then have an absolutely insane like 12 episode span of like non-stop batshit crazy time traveling insanity, watching everything unwind.
Nice.
To have one of my favorite endings in an anime I've ever seen, is just a really, really nice experience. And I think it's fair if someone's like, I don't I think the beginning is slow and it's boring, and I'm like, that's fine, you know, it's not for everybody. But if you're able to let all these little bits of information sit with you and hold on to them as you see them, and then when you get later on, all of those pieces are floating around in your head and you start piecing everything together, it's one of the most entertaining and enjoyable experiences I've ever had in anime.
So you just have to keep watching then, for the people that say they can't handle the beginning.
Yeah,
Well,
pretty
yeah, I think
much.
that's a lot of the point of the show is like it does set up that big reveal at the end. But yeah, it's not like a drag at the beginning at all. I really like the Steins Gate is some of the best character interactions for sure.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's got some of my favorite character interactions in the beginning, especially.
Yeah, for sure.
You're learning bits and pieces about these people, the way they interact with each other, the way they interact when they're alone out in the world, like interacting with other humans that they're not familiar with, what kind of personalities they have, what kind of weird antics some of them get up to. And it's really nice to see them all just like interact, and it makes everything so much more impactful when it does happen. I don't know, I really like it. And I think without the beginning that people say is too slow and too boring sometimes, the rest of it would be such a waste because it would have such less impact.
Yeah. Also, Kurisu, Kurisu's not the one who drinks Dr. Pepper.
Oh no. Wrong one.
I got a Dr. Pepper right here.
So, do you think, okay, Slimbo, the way you describe that premise where, you know, it kind of like blooms out, you know, you get like your bits and pieces and
Yeah.
they trail along and you get your big payoff at the end. This sounds like a premise that's easily reproducible for like an anime to
I
do.
feel like as a tool it's reproducible, and it should be used more often, in a sense that if you have the ability to build up something and introduce the world, introduce the characters, make it more. It's the same thing with Made in Abyss. Episode 9 or 10 of Made in Abyss hits, and it hits as hard as it does. Season 1, it hits as hard as it does because of everything that happened before it, right? Like, if you don't get introduced to these characters going into the abyss, why would you care that things are happening to them if you're not aware of how dangerous the world is, aware of how, you know, these characters, of what their lives have been like? Like, why would you care? It's the same thing with Steins Gate. If you're not interested in the characters, if they haven't taken the time to be built up, the world that they're in, the situations that they're getting into, if any of that hasn't been built up, what is there to grab onto to then enjoy what happens to them?
Yeah.
And it's a tool that it's character growth, it's character building, you know, it's setting the story, setting the pace of the story, and then being able to flip it on its head is very cool. But it's just world building, and they're so important, and it's so much more important than guy gets his phone in another world. Who gives a shit? Right? It's not that.
Yeah, I've heard of that one.
Yeah, isn't it cool?
And then he kills all of them.
And then he gets hot babes.
That's so cool. It must be good.
You just
It must
described
be good.
half the shows airing this season.
Yeah.
Minus the phone, maybe, but
So yeah, Steins Gate is cool. I like it a lot.
yeah, I always appreciate when a show feels like thought out from start to finish. You can always tell when a show had a really good idea and then didn't know how to stick the landing because they didn't plan that out.
Yeah. That sucks. It builds you up so much and you get so disappointed.
Yeah.
Looking at you, Golden Time. So sad.
Well, Kifo, do you have 4?
Yeah.
Yeah. My fourth would be the Bakuman series.
Ooh, let's
I know Slimbo is familiar with it. I don't know about you, Trigger.
I had a McDonald's toy when I was like 9.
Related to Bakuman?
Yeah, McDonald's
Really?
Bakugan
The one about writing manga, not the little toys? They had a toy for the writing manga?
I just remember I opened my Happy Meal and I had like a little rolling ball that unfolded into a robot, and Bakugan was then my favorite series for like one day.
I'm sorry, Trigger.
Wait, is that not
Bakugan? Not
No.
Bakuman.
Wait, okay, I gotta look this up. Bakuman.
With an M.
Kifo, Kifo, while he's looking it up and realizing he's completely wrong, why don't you start telling us about Bakuman?
Yeah, there's no funny little ball rolling in this one. I'm sorry, but it is a pretty good story about two high schoolers who meet in a very normal situation where they're in the same class, and they decide to team up to write manga together because one is passionate about writing and another is passionate about drawing. So they were like, hey, you know what? We could be a nice combination to draw manga together. And this series starts them off as high schoolers, but it actually draws them to their adulthood. So I thought that was really cool from the get-go because that's not something you see often in anime, where you're gonna see like the visual progression and not just visual, but like the characters are aging, So I thought that was a really cool element of the series. But the hardships they feel, just the way they go off each other, they're two very different characters, so they do get in fights, and they don't feel like silly dramatic fights. It feels like it's a very grounded show, and what they're feeling, you can almost like put yourself in their shoes, even though you have like zero interest in manga writing. It's just the premise is super simple. You'll get episodes where they're just talking to an editor for the entire time and go back to their office, and like that's like the only 2 rooms you see for episodes on end, and you do not care because it is enjoyable from start to finish for me.
Okay. Is it kind of like Shirobako? Have you seen that?
I have not seen that. Have you, Simbo?
I have not, but yes, it is similar.
You might like Shirobako, yeah. It sounds similar, but it basically just follows a little anime studio, and everyone there is like at a different level of experience, and the main character is like a new hire. Have you guys seen New Game?
Yeah.
Nope.
It's a kind of a similar setting to New Game, except it's an anime studio, and it's a little more the characters are a little more realistic. But yeah, you get to see them grow as a studio, and it sounds kind of similar.
That's nice. Yeah, it does sound like Bakuman, where it feels like a little elder audience, It's,
yeah.
I'll take note of Shirobako. I'll have to check that out.
I'll check out Bakuman. That sounds cool.
Bakuman has one of my favorite written piece of shit characters ever. Nakai. I'm sure Kifo remembers him.
Yeah.
See the blonde guy?
He is not the blonde guy.
I'm just looking at the key art.
I'm not going to spoil it if you're going to check it out, Trigger. But the character I'm talking about is very, very grossly human in the way that he acts.
It's a trend with this show, and it's a welcome one for sure.
It is a very welcome one. Yeah, I'm not going to say any more than that, but the thing that he does in the 3rd season is absolutely appalling, but like one of the most human like actions that he did that felt the most real, and because of how real it was even more gross, and like it was a really good moment. Not that he's a good person, but I think he's a very well written character, and I like that scene a lot.
I'm with Slimbo on that one for sure.
Well, should I move on to my third?
Yeah.
Yes,
let's
Trigger.
do number 3.
All right. My number 3 is Kaguya-sama.
Ooh.
It's the only... I think it's the only manga that I've actually caught up with. I don't read a lot of manga, but it's the only show that's gotten me to go and read the manga and stick with it for like months. I followed it weekly for probably like a year or two. I would just read it during my breaks at work. And
Are you up to date with the series or no?
I haven't even seen season 3 actually.
Okay.
Or whatever the latest season was.
Season 3, Ultra Romantic.
I have read that arc in the manga though, so I know what happens.
There you go.
But yeah, Kaguya is definitely one I remember. I know there was a period where I just played like every Chica map on Osu. And I just love the characters so much. They're all so endearing in their own way. And the openings are always good. I really don't have much substance to my opinions. I just like them.
Oh, that's okay.
That's good.
I
have
like-
good news for you, not Slimbo, Trigger. I don't know if it's the same over where you're at, but we're in the same country, so
Yeah.
there's a Kaguya movie out in theaters.
Yeah, I heard from a couple friends today that there was.
Okay, so same for you on your side of the...
I
country?
doubt it's airing in. Let me check my local movie theater. Probably not.
Oh, I didn't know the movie came out already.
Is it just the arc after the latest season?
Yeah.
Oh. Oh. Wait, it actually is, I think. Or
Yeah,
it
it's
is airing.
oh, nice. It's the
You
short
might want
arc.
to check that out.
Yeah, I'll definitely go if it's... Wait, when is it? I haven't been to a movie theater in years.
Yeah, I feel that.
Here we go. Magic Mike's Last Dance? That's not Kaguya.
Yeah. No, that's even better.
Oh, yeah. Wait, is it? No, never mind. It's not showing. Nothing shows in my town.
It's unfortunate.
Oh well.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
I'll just have to watch
It's
it on
okay.
whatever it comes out on.
You're probably up to date in the manga, right? So you'll know what happens in it.
I'm up to date as of like a year ago. The movie probably goes farther than where I was.
Okay.
As of like a year ago,
Darn.
the manga ended. It's over.
Yeah, I haven't finished the manga.
So yeah,
I just I caught up like a year or two ago, and then
gotcha.
when I caught up, I kind of fell off of it because I don't know if it breaks the routine of like just there's always like stuff to read, then I'm not good at keeping up with things. But that's
Yeah,
why
that's fair.
I don't really watch seasonals. I got burnt out of seasonals pretty fast because I just don't like watching things week by week. I like to watch them at my own pace.
Seasonal burnout. What is that?
I call it burnout, but it was only like one season where I followed like a whole bunch of shows, and then
So you
I don't
did it
know.
once. Yeah.
It's
okay.
just hard to be invested when it's like the only ones I stuck with were ones that just worked as like Monster of the Week shows, and by that I mean
Yeah.
they weren't even Monster of the Week; they were just like self-contained episodes. Like it was the
Gotcha.
season where Senko-san aired, and
Okay. Yeah.
I remember I only remember watching Senko-san that season. I know I watched a whole bunch of other ones, but that's the only one I remember because that show just works as like I was in high school and I hated being in high school, and every Wednesday there was a new Senko-san episode. And it was the perfect anime for that spot in my life.
Escape from school.
But yeah. What's your number 3, Slimbo?
My number 3. My number 3 is a super popular show. Definitely everybody's watched. Definitely completely normal. Everybody loves it. It's Princess Tutu.
Oh, I've heard about this one.
Yeah. So
I've never heard of that one.
so Princess Tutu, a bit different than your normal shonen, etc., seinen, la la la, you know. It's a it's a magical girl show, a maho shoujo,
Oh, this one's
about
old.
a girl who is actually a duck.
Let's go.
So she's a duck, and then she transforms into a human girl, and she has to collect emotions, little like shards of emotions of the prince, because it's a whole like fairy tale, right? Like a storybook fairy tale.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And so she has to go and collect the shards of emotion for the prince who's had his emotions taken away and sealed away from him. And she has the ability to transform into Princess Tutu and go and connect with his emotion and return it to the prince's body. And it's a... Well, I guess they're like shards of his heart, but they're his emotions, you know, because the emotion, every emotion is what makes up who you are.
Oh,
and the way that you,
okay.
you know, yeah.
That's cute. Yeah.
And it's, I don't know. There's something about it. It's hard to explain. Like it's a very grim fairy tale. Where if she collects all of his shards, the shards of his heart, she'll have the ability to save him basically at the cost of her own life. So she'll never be able to live out her own happiness with the prince that she saves. So there's a lot of inner turmoil for her that goes on with, you know, dealing with the selfishness of wanting what she wants for herself, but knowing that if she tries to keep him around without his shards so she can be happy, she's stopping him from being able to return to his true self. There's a lot of, I don't know, it's hard to explain what about it for me makes it so special.
Do you think it's more of a subjective top three, or would you say this is an objective top three?
I would say this is an objectively well-written piece of media that is subjectively one of my favorite things ever. I think you can look at this and you can respect and appreciate what it does, but have it absolutely not be something you're interested in. I think you can look at it and go, I see what it's doing, I respect what it's doing, but I don't like what it's doing. It doesn't speak to me. But for me, it speaks directly to me. I don't know. There's never been a story like this type of picture book fairy tale story that really just grabbed me and pulled me into its world and made me care so deeply about the characters and wanting to see how they would get out of this unfortunate situation, and, you know, rooting for the happiness of everybody while knowing it's potentially not going to come true, and seeing everything
it sounds
unfold.
pretty grim.
It's
For a magical girl.
It's definitely grim. There's plenty of parts of it that are played much more lightheartedly, but there's the overarching story is not like a super pleasant one. It's portrayed very, very nicely in some spots and very real as to what you would expect from someone, you know. The only emotion that he's got returned to him, let's say, is fear. So going from feeling nothing to feeling nothing but fear. Everything's scaring him, and that's all he knows how to feel. Stuff like that is hard. A bit hard to watch.
Yeah, it doesn't sound very fun, but
it, the way it's portrayed is like genuinely, in my opinion, very, very beautiful, and I'm just such a sucker for it. I love it.
Would you say that it was the precursor to Madoka, and Madoka copied it?
No, because Madoka, I like Madoka as well. It's very different. In terms of Madoka sets up an idea and doesn't necessarily do a 180, but basically goes, "Hey, things aren't as nice as they seem, are they?"
Mm-hmm. Well, it sounds similar.
And this is I guess it's similar, but this is more of,
it goes with emotions in this one.
yeah, it is very not 100% like forefront with what it's doing, because there's plenty of like turns with things that happen involving other characters, but it's very much so a bit more grounded in what happens. It's hard to word, but I think they're different enough. I know they're definitely similar, but the way they approach a similar theme is very different, I think, is the main thing. And I also like this way more than Madoka, so
yeah, it sounds good.
It's
sounds like
really
something I'd enjoy.
It's really good.
Princess Tutu at the number 3 spot. It's nice.
Yeah. What about your 3, Kifo?
My 3 would have to be the Gintama series.
Oh,
I know it's a favorite of a lot of people.
Yeah, so here I am. I'm gonna try to rope you guys into watching 500 episodes of something. Or so I don't know actually how many episodes, but
What I've heard is that it takes like 80 episodes to get good, though. Is that true?
I disagree. I think it sets the premise of what it's doing, and like I guess you get world building through 80 episodes, right? Because Gintama's a lot about the humor, so you're gonna get a lot of episodic feeling episodes where nothing is going on. It's just comedy. Okay, I should probably just like give a quick review of what's going on. So Gintama is about 3 people who run an odd jobs, not community. What word would you use here? It's their job, and basically they take requests for anyone for money because they're really poor, and it ends up putting them in super goofy scenarios, and the way they just interact together, the 3 of them. There's one, that's like the comedy relief, super straight face, and then the other one's always doing stupid stuff, and then you have your main character that's like the cool guy. So they always like play off each other with their very I don't want to say like strict characteristics, because when you have like these traits that stand out so much, from there you're able to manipulate that so well. And that's something Gintama does, right? You're gonna have like your super simple setup. You're like, okay, I see what this is, like I don't feel like there's story because you're just making me laugh every episode, but like where's the story? And that's probably where people are like, oh my god, it gets good at 80 episodes, because eventually you're getting arcs that feel like, oh, something is going on here.
I see.
You start introducing characters and environments that you're not used to, so it's really jarring, right? Because you're so used to this comedy and super rinse and repeat scenario. So I think it's a good thing, and apparently the other people think it gets good around 80 episodes when they put a twist on it, when they switch things up.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe people are going into it expecting more of a to be more of a traditional shonen anime where it's got like a constant story plot with different arcs and whatnot. You're saying it's more of like a slice of life comedy initially?
That's how it feels at first, right? And then
I don't know if people. Sorry, I don't know if people should go into it thinking it's gonna be a shonen.
No,
a
I'm saying
normal
that's what
shonen.
people expect, maybe.
But why?
I don't know.
This
I don't
anime
know.
is so silly. I can't see how anyone would think it's serious.
Yeah,
honestly,
if you watch
on that level, Trigger.
If you watch the beginning of episode 1, I've watched about 30 episodes and I need to get back to it because I really liked it. But if you watch like minute 1 of episode 1, you go, "Oh, this shit is goofy, like goofy, like is wacko. This is crazy." They do the funny stuff.
I wonder if these are the opinions of people who have already watched it. Maybe not people who failed to get into it.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe. I just don't understand why you would stick to a mostly comedy. That the whole reason everything that ends up being more serious is contrasted so well because of the comedy, which makes it more impactful. Why you would stick to it, but to each their own.
Yeah, it always gave me I've never seen it, but it always gave me the impression of like Psyche K or something. I've seen a couple seasons of that.
Oh, that's something I haven't seen.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
I haven't either.
It's been a few years since I've seen it, but I think I watched the English dub of Psyche K, and the voice actors just have a really good time with it. You can tell.
Oh, nice.
That's huge.
That's always fun. You
Yeah.
can see the voice actors are having a good time.
Yeah.
If you watch Gintama and you don't think the hot pot episode near the beginning of the show is one of the funniest episodes you've ever seen, then
Slimbo,
I
let
think
me
you're
tell ya.
missing out.
You're getting more than one of those.
Oh, let's go.
And they don't feel like they're reused, right? Because this series is so long that when they play it, you're like, oh, I missed this. You're not like on again.
No, let's go. Yeah, the hot pot episode of Gintama in the beginning, because I haven't watched super far, is one of the funniest episodes of anime I've ever seen in my life. It is so good.
Cool.
It's easy to describe to Trigger, actually. You've watched and read Kaguya-sama.
Yeah.
So they literally have a comedy episode where they're doing that. But it was like in 2009 or so, something. So it really hits. It was funny.
Nice.
But yeah, with Gintama, it's so long that even though you have like a bunch of side characters that you're not going to see as much, you have enough time to make them feel like a fleshed out character that you just enjoy every second they have on screen. And it builds a world where you're just enjoying anything they throw at you because of they've been setting this up since the start with how silly, goofy it is. They can literally do anything with it, and you will not be confused about it. You'll be like, yeah, this is Gintama. And they find a way to, like I said, they manipulate it sometimes with the character traits or just anything in that show, and they end up building up on it. And to give you an idea, I think Gintama peaks at season 4, and there's like 6 seasons.
Yeah,
So
the strength of
love
those
that.
shows is always great when you can have episodes where like not much happens and you're just enjoying watching the characters banter. That's what I felt with Kaguya for sure.
It gets to that point, definitely. A very nice, enjoyable experience.
Mm-hmm.
That's it for my number 3, guys.
All right, I'll
Trigger.
do my 2.
Let's go.
My number 2. My number 2 is ReZero.
Oh no.
Okay.
Which seems like definitely one of the normie picks, but it's been a while since I've seen it. The last time I saw it was when the second season aired. But I've always been in it for the growth of Subaru. I really like his character, and he's pretty much the reason I like the show so much. Again, I was watching season 1, like kind of end of high school, where I was really struggling a lot, and I really enjoyed watching that show and watching Subaru just pick himself up over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Just like me for real.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
anime
it
came
literally
out at
is
a
that.
really good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I love shows like that. And Yeah, it's only gotten better for me. I still just I think I watched it with Respert season 2. It was fun.
Yeah, I would see you guys streaming and watching together.
Mm-hmm. It was a good time. But yeah, I don't really have much to say about that.
I like ReZero a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good.
It has some of my favorite openings and endings as well, which is a big plus for me as well.
Oh, the music. The insert character songs. Oh, Emilia's made me cry a few times.
Ram's song in season 2, part 2. Oh,
Rams, not one. Rams, right?
And
yeah, I said Garfield. Rams.
Oh,
yeah. And they also have they also have literally just Garfield.
literally Garfield.
But they took the D off of the end of his name, and he's just Garfield. But he's also just turns into a cat. There? He's just Garfield.
I'd like to think that the writer was just sitting down one day, like on I'm sorry, John, or something, and was like, I gotta put this guy in the show.
Yeah.
You think it worked? You think they pulled off Garfield and ReZero?
I don't really care about Garfield, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
I think he's an okay character that gets maybe too much screen time.
Yeah, I wonder if they're just gonna throw him away next season. I haven't read the light novel or anything, but
it's for us to discover later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Echidna and Beatrice are the two best characters in the show besides Subaru. So I don't know if my opinion means much of anything.
Echidna is an interesting one. Do you want to delve into that one a bit more?
No. It's hard to explain what exactly I like about her, which is why I'm saying no.
You like
I think
with all this
scene where she makes a little drink.
Oh. So I
remember that one.
I think her character is really good. I think the spoilers for season 2 part 2, I guess, her setting up the sanctuary with Roswell and Beatrice and what's her name?
Such an
Ryuzu.
Yeah.
I think it's really good. I like that whole flashback sequence a lot. It gives a lot of depth to the type of character she is, where her morals stand, who she cares about and why she cares about them, and what she's willing to do with her powers. And I think it gives really good insight as to why she treats Subaru as kindly as she does, while still trying to, at the end of the day, manipulate him into, fucking up.
Yep.
It was a kind of a weird interaction between the two, where she's a witch, so she is obviously taking advantage of him, but she did help him out too.
But at the same time, she helps him out tremendously in the part 1 of season 2. She is the entire reason he's able to confront just how much he was troubled in his previous life in the real world, how much his parents supported him and the fact that he brushed them off, and she's the entire reason he's able to go and truly forgive himself and accept the fact that he's not going to be able to see his parents ever again. And it's a huge moment for him, and it's all because of her.
Bro, I just remember the scene where the witches were tearing Subaru apart.
Mm-hmm.
that scene messed me up.
Yeah. I don't know.
Physically tearing him apart? Or? Yeah.
Yeah?
The witches?
Yeah. Yeah, where he crumbled into pieces.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to go rewatch that one.
Yeah.
I remember when they were all at the witches party and they were messing around. They weren't threatening him. That's what I remember from
Well, yeah,
the witches.
I don't remember exactly, but
He ended up crumpled over.
well, yeah, it was like the body horror of him dismantling, but he didn't actually feel any pain.
I'll have to rewatch that scene.
It's a wild scene.
Yeah, it is.
Slimbo, do you have a number 2?
I do have a number 2. Hunter x Hunter. I'm not doing any pre-ramble. It's Hunter x Hunter. Hunter x Hunter fucking rules. There's not much to say that hasn't already been said. The York New City arc is one of my favorite arcs, and it's my favorite arc in Hunter x Hunter. The Chimera Ant arc is the single best, most well-written shonen arcs of all time.
I've heard a lot about that one.
If not one of the best arcs in manga and anime ever written in general. It is unbelievable the amount of effort he did to tie just like a 2-minute sequence across like 30 episodes of it all happening and unfolding is like unbelievable. And the way it's put together and the way it's presented is the most insane thing I've ever seen in my entire life. It has some of my another couple of my favorite character interactions. Gon and Killua, their dynamic, the two of them, is like unbelievably sweet and just an absolute delight to watch them interact with each other. You get very, very like heartfelt moments, some of which are just, I don't know, there's a couple of scenes that are like very emotional in terms of like, I'm gonna go back to Chimera Ant arc with this. There's a character named Kite. I'm not gonna spoil it because I think everyone should watch this, but stuff that happens with Kite is really, really powerful for what it does to Gon as a character later on in the series, especially since he's, just a kid. And it's just
how old is he?
It's I think he's 10, 11,
wow.
12. I'll check
10
right
to
now.
12 for the main character. Is that
I will
I'm
check.
guessing?
He is 12 at the beginning.
Wow.
Yeah. It's such an insanely fun adventure as well at the end of the day. Like it's just an absolute delight. It's so cool. It's got some of the coolest like powers. It's got some really, really, really cool side characters that become extremely important for arcs. It's got the Phantom Troop, which is in York New City arc, which is one of the coolest like organizations in anime, bar none. And everything about it is just like peak shonen. Maybe there's something better than that, but it's pretty peak shonen. I love it.
You're making me want to watch it.
It's really good. I would recommend it.
But it's like 100 episodes.
148. I know that off the top of my dome. I've seen this. I've watched.
I thought it was longer actually.
No, no, it's 148. I've watched through it 3 different times now, and it is consistently, every time I go back and rewatch it, one of my favorite shows ever. And it just like continues to be one of my favorite shows ever every time I see it.
Well,
Like it'll wane out and I'll be like, maybe Hunter x Hunter wasn't as good as I remember, and then I watch it and I'm like, no,
Yeah.
you're dumb. It was. It was that good.
yeah, I haven't seen that one either, but I've heard it's like one of the best for sure.
Yeah, I don't
The
want to go
author's still
too
on
in
hiatus,
depth.
aren't they?
So he came back for a while, and released a bunch of chapters, and they're really good. Togashi
Wait, it's
is
not over yet?
insane. No. No. So, yeah, he came back. He released a bunch of chapters. He got back onto a weekly schedule for like a month, and now he's on hiatus again. So,
Yeah.
You think it's for the better? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
is it for the quality, or is he just burnt out?
If you read some of the like the afterwards, you know, at the end when they write, a lot of his are like, yeah, I'm really tired, and like I'm in a lot of pain, and I'm just excited that this weekend I'll get to sleep for more than 2 hours. So that's really cool. And you just read it and you're like, this poor guy, man. But I like what he writes, so I like when he writes more of it. But yeah, if he needs to take a hiatus for 2.5 years because he's burning himself out and literally killing himself writing this, then I'll wait 2.5 years for 4 more chapters. It's okay.
Okay.
It's really good. I'm a big fan.
Most mentally stable mangaka.
For sure.
Kifo, you want to do your number 2?
And are you guys ready for the lamest answer?
Yeah, tell me.
It's the same answer as Trigger. It's ReZero. It's actually so close. ReZero and my top 1. Oh, they're interchangeable. We'll put it that way. But yeah, Trigger talked about it. This series came out at a right spot, and
Yeah.
you know, I grew up with it, and it's still so good today. But you know, the things Subaru goes through, I've never felt that way in an anime where you're like, I have no freaking clue where they're taking this from, like where they're gonna go from here, because this guy is in the deepest shit possible.
Yeah.
And he makes it out, and you're like, damn, that makes sense.
Yeah. I love how it resolves every arc, and how it's like, you know, there's almost like a self-contained story every time, but Subaru goes through all of it. And I really don't understand. A lot of people don't like Subaru because they think he's like overreacting or something, but I don't think people understand how dramatic scenes and shows are and how a realistic person would actually act.
But Trigger, we get that one episode too where they literally play off of that, and it was so good.
Yeah.
I can't believe someone could react that way if they've seen enough, you know.
Yeah. Well, I love the scenes where he's just complete. I can't believe I'm using this word, but where he's just completely broken.
He's broken.
He is broken.
For real. Yeah, but seeing him go as low as he can go, and then kind of just like sit in that for a bit, and then pick himself back up, is like definitely a feeling I've had. Obviously, like completely ridiculous fantasy situation, but the feelings are still there.
Yeah, I would say you don't get your heart crushed from the inside and die and then respawn, but you know.
Yeah, hopefully not.
Hopefully not.
You can't tell us about it, so we don't know.
So actually, we don't know if that happens to you or not, Trigger. This could be my 90th time talking to you, and I wouldn't even know it.
Editing's hard.
ReZero, by the way, has, like, if I did a compilation of like my top scenes, top 3 goes to ReZero, all of them.
Episode 15, episode 18, and
You guys remember the numbers? That's crazy.
I think I'm
episode
right.
15 for sure. That's the one I'm forever gonna remember, because that's number 1 scene.
Which
I
one
don't
is
think
it?
I'm getting anything at. It's
Fuck.
Buck. Yeah.
I don't need to say anything else. I'm sure you know the scene.
Is that good enough, Trigger? Do you know?
Is it the cliff?
No.
No, that's a good
Okay.
scene though.
Yeah, I like the cliff.
When he
going back
he
to
has
the
a dismantled ram in his hands. He's walking up to the castle, and you see. I
Yeah.
think it's the first time in the show where you see Puck at as something else.
Oh,
And-
the snowy one, the snowy scene.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
The way they play that scene is I'm forever marked.
Oh, man,
I'm never
the
seeing
insert.
it. Oh man.
Bro.
Everything there was
I want to rewatch ReZero now.
Oh, I have done it, buddy. Probably for that scene alone, I was like, yeah, this is worth a rewatch.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, is there anything more you
and,
want to say? Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, yeah, it's actually not episode 18 for top second or third. Both are from season 2, part 1.
Oh, okay. So episode 6 or 7 with his parents.
No,
No?
actually,
Oh, that
it's
one's
pretty good with
definitely
the parents,
there for me.
but not in my top 3.
Okay, which ones?
So this one is interchangeable. I don't know. The one where he's finally able to tell someone about what's going on. That scene is insane.
Mm-hmm.
With
Okay.
Ekidona.
Yeah.
Oh wow! What a relief. That was some emotions there. And then the other one is Behold an Unthinkable Present, where he gets to relive some of his decisions.
Yeah.
That-
Oh man.
That
was
scene
insane.
That scene is admittedly a bit hard to sit through for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oof. Yeah, that one.
So-
That's a good one.
So ReZero is quite interchangeable for number 1 contender for me. It's done a lot. It's great.
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree with that. This I don't know what, but I don't think my top 5 are like a fixed order. It's just the first anime I think of when I think of ones I remember and enjoy a lot, and definitely my number 1 and 2 in particular are pretty interchangeable.
Yeah, I think it's better to keep it that way for me. It hurts to like situate one.
Yeah.
Like the other one's like, oh, so I'm not the best. Like, no, that's not what I mean. Yeah, that I'm gonna wrap it up with ReZero. It's amazing.
Well, should we move on to number 1s then?
Let's do it.
Yeah. What's your
Yeah.
favorite anime of all time, Sugar?
My number 1 is Made in Abyss, and
Let's go.
it's been my number 1. When I think of my favorite anime, it's always the first one that comes to mind. It's been that ever since I saw season 1, and the movie in season 2 only strengthened that for me. I was just immediately like hooked on the world building and the whole idea of each like lower tier and whatnot. I love self-contained story arcs that wrap into a larger journey, and that's exactly what Made in Abyss is. And there's so many creative ideas for the creatures and the environments. I actually don't really care for the characters that much, even though I like the whole journey of it. The world building for me is the character, and I love seeing how much the Abyss changes as you go deeper and deeper. And no other show for me has like just completely ruined me for like a day or two, where I was like watching season 2 in particular. I remember watching season 2 in my bed. I watched like half of it in one night, and then I remembered I had to go to work the next morning, and I was like, man, how do I even wake up after this? It's just
Yeah.
it's like, why would you watch something like that? But also, I'm so glad I did. And the whole
Oh my
time,
God, yeah.
I'm always thinking like, how does a person imagine this scene and make it into a story? I don't understand. It's brilliantly written.
There are so many scenes from season 2 specifically that are ingrained in my head now. I've messaged both of you actually about it multiple times.
Yeah.
I can't get the look on her face the first time she gives birth. I can't get the look on her face out of my head. The absolute like pure joy and love that she has for her child. The look on her face is ingrained in my head, and it just won't go away, especially knowing what happens to it immediately, and then it happens again and again and again, and it's it is.
Oh,
it's actually wild how much that season 2 conveyed.
It is.
Yeah.
That season 2 might be the hardest thing I've ever had to stomach from a show ever. It's rough.
Yeah.
But it's so good.
And I know some people don't care for the first half of season 1 quite as much. But for me, I think the show really needs that in order for, like, you know, the really shallow, the shallow tier to be kind of, you know, shallow in itself, where it's like, you know, just kids kind of naive in what they're getting into.
You get a nice setup, and you got to build up to something. You got to start somewhere.
Yeah, and a big part of it for me also is the atmosphere that Kevin Penkin's music creates. I don't think it's all great, but there's a few tracks in there that just really just like make the background art and the whole world pop that much more.
Yeah, I agree.
There's one track in particular called Old Stories in season 2 that I sometimes just listen to and sit in silence with. And the art is so gorgeous. But yeah, I love Minibus.
Me too.
All right, Slimbo, what's your number 1?
I sorry, I was contending Made in Abyss, but it made me hurt so much. I don't know if, like, is that a good experience? the fact that it's able to do that, it's insane, right?
Yeah,
But
it's
I had a
definitely not
similar
something I would watch
situation.
all the time.
I don't think I'll ever watch it again.
I can't watch like heavy or dark shows more than like once a month. I need to be keeping positive so I can keep working on stuff. But yeah, they're really meaningful when I do have the when I'm in the mood for them.
Yeah.
It hits. All right, Slimbo.
My number
Give us
one
a top one.
is Demon Slayer, because Zenitsu's my favorite character ever.
Let's go.
Yeah, my number 1 is definitely not that. But my number 1, I'm sure Kifo definitely knows what it is. And Trigger, I'm pretty sure you would probably also know what it is without me having to say it.
I'm at a blank, but I'm probably gonna know it when you say it.
Well, I know Kifo's not at a blank. I know that for a fact.
Actually, I probably know.
It's One Piece.
Yeah.
It's One Piece.
Aikido Yume.
Wo. Haki Atsume. Sagashimono. Sagashini Yukuno-sa. One Piece.
I can't believe it. This guy still loves it after so long.
So the funny thing about what you just said is the arc that just happened, Wano, is the best arc that Eiichiro Oda, the GOAT, love that guy, love his story. It's the best arc he's ever written. And then the arc that is happening right now in the manga, by the way, I'm talking about the manga, like, very specifically. The anime, while I love it, does not fully convey everything that there is to have out of One Piece.
Would it still be top 1 anime?
It would. It's my number 1 favorite story of all time, and I'll rebuttal you being like, but it's not anime, and we're talking about anime. On my notepad, it says top 5 anime / manga. So checkmate.
Oh, you got me there.
But yeah, One Piece is just like the best. Wano was the conclusion to such an insanely massive story that everything has been building up to for so long. And the conclusion of that was unbelievably powerful. And the arc that's happening right now is setting up to at the very least be on par with what just happened in terms of story, because of the implications, and like the absolute scale of what's happening just keeps getting bigger and it keeps getting more intense. And I love the characters. It is the single story that if anyone were to ask me about, it is the crew of the Straw Hat Pirates is just you, when you read it, even when you watch it, you are going on the journey with them. You're not watching them going on a journey. Really feel like you're right there with them. You're part of the crew. You're watching everything happen and watching everything unfold. And it is like just such a nice feeling to be able to connect that deeply to what's going on, that you feel like you're right there with them. As corny as that sounds, it is an unbelievably like amazing feeling when you're reading something or watching something.
No, I know what you mean. That's definitely what I like in shows as well, when you're able to immerse yourself in it. Mm-hmm. And I've heard nothing but good things about One Piece, but I was initially like, man, I don't want to watch One Piece. It's 1,000 episodes, but it's had the opposite effect. It's got the opposite effect of Bocchi for me, where it's like the more I hear about it, the more I'm like considering it.
No,
but it's such a big commitment.
It is a big commitment.
Yeah. So would you say, if it was just the anime, is it still your favorite anime, or do you need the manga to be able to like go through it quickly?
I think with just the anime, if you pull up like either One Pace, which fixes the pacing a lot, or you pull up the filler list, you're able to condense a couple things a lot better, because the pacing in the anime is the main issue as to why, because they're not going to be able to release an episode every week and not catch up to the manga, right? Like, it's just not feasible. Mm-hmm. It's been being published since 97 and airing since 99.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Like, a 2-year gap is not something you can keep that long when one episode per week is going to cover more than one chapter's worth of material. Mm-hmm. So the pacing ends up really taking a hit in a lot of spots.
That's unfortunate.
Where like there's a specific scene in Wano which involves like some sumo wrestling. And the scene in the anime in particular it's like 5 panels in the manga, 5 or 6 panels, maybe like 1 page total. Maybe a tiny bit more, but not very much, right? And it's like 3 minutes of like cuts back and forth between like someone's hand and someone else's hand and the face and then someone else's face and then the crowd's face and then someone looking from the rooftop, and like it's just like, why? Like I get why you're doing it, because you need to pad so you don't catch up and it becomes a problem. But also, it hinders the story.
It really does.
Not to the degree where it's no longer good. Especially if you've watched long-running shows before, you become, not that you should have to, but you do become accustomed to, there's pacing issues here. Mm-hmm. And it's very apparent, and you're usually able to make the connection. This is not indicative of the story itself being told. It just hinders it a bit, which is unfortunate, because One Piece, I think, deserves every bit of like time and effort and polish that the anime could receive, and it doesn't, which is a shame.
We lived in a perfect world.
If we lived in a perfect world, everyone would watch One Piece because it'd be the single best thing on the planet. Because the anime would have been handled properly, and no one would be able to refute it. But
that hurts. It really does.
It is. I think it's the single coolest world ever. It's got the easiest power scaling just written into the way the world works. It's so simple.
How's the power scaling in One Piece? Does it feel silly at this point?
So, I can explain this because I don't want to go forever about One Piece because I totally will, but I'll give you the power scaling real quick. There are 4 corners of the world that are separated by the Grand Line, which is in the middle, and it goes around the world. And you can't get into that except going to a specific spot. And once you enter the Grand Line, you go through that part of the ocean only. So the 4 corners of the world, whichever one you're born in, you grow up there, you set sail, you go to the Grand Line. That's the main destination as a pirate. And then the Grand Line is one big strip that is just a straight shot all the way around the world with a bunch of little islands. And the farther you go in the Grand Line, the stronger you have to be to make it that much farther. So when they reach a new island, someone stronger is going to be there, and it just makes perfect sense, and you don't even have to think about it because obviously that's going to be the case, right? They made it farther into the hard part of the world, they're going to be stronger.
That's interesting.
It's that easy. It's like the most brain off move to be able to make your characters as cool as you want them in the spot that you want them to be, without it being an issue. It's so smart. I love that.
Of all the people I've heard talk about One Piece for hours on end, I've never heard anyone actually mention that part of it. That's pretty interesting.
Because it's something so minor, right? Like, you don't even think about it. Like,
what do you mean? Power scaling,
is that
it's
not
important
literally
across 1,000 episodes?
Is that not literally the structure of how the power scaling works?
So that is the structure of how the power scaling works, but because it's so simple, you just don't think about it. You're like, oh yeah, the tough guy in the spot where he's gonna be tough, and it just makes sense. And you're like, yeah, fight the guy, punch him with your big stretchy arm, slice him with your 3 swords. You can make your foot glow on fire and kick him. Yeah, let's go. And it's just really nice. I don't know, man. I love One Piece. The world building is like unbelievably phenomenal. The way Oda doesn't like really forget anything ever, and he's able to tie a character that you heard about in chapter 30, and he shows up in chapter 512. But you've heard about him before, so when you call back to it, you're like, this guy has been such an important figure for so long, and he's been in the back of my head forever, and now I get to finally see him and see the impact he's had on the world, and he's right here in front of me. It's so good, man.
I can picture the little notepads and sticky notes around his house.
Yeah.
Don't forget chapter 26, this guy.
It's so good. There is no story out there that just does it like One Piece does it. It's so good.
Man,
so Trigger, are you convinced? Are you gonna watch 1,000 episodes of One Piece?
that's a lot of time. I don't know. Maybe if
It is a lot of time.
Maybe if
You
I'm
could read
in the
it.
for that. I've only seen one long anime, longer than like 50 episodes, and that was my 3rd anime ever was Fairy Tail, and I watched like over 300 episodes of it. I didn't even finish it, but
All that commitment and you stopped?
man, I love Fairy Tail though. No, well, I caught up, and then I dropped it because I caught up, and it broke the rhythm.
God.
It turned into the weekly ritual that you don't like.
Yeah.
I see.
Well, it's not even that I don't like it. It's just that my brain just like doesn't remember. If the habit is broken, then I just don't. But yeah, Kifo, what's your number 1?
Okay, so fun fact, I messed up Slimbo's number 1.
Oh,
I
What?
expected the pet girl of Sakuraso.
So, if you've noticed, Kifo, I have officially said to myself, I love Sakuraso, but it's time to put that behind me and accept the fact that I hold that very near and dear to my heart, but it is not my favorite.
Darn, I missed the character progression there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Don't worry, the other dog shit opinions like Black Bullet being a 9 out of 10 are still there. So it's okay.
that hurts.
It's okay, I still have some garbage in me.
Okay.
So what
You
what
won't
is
mess
what
up
is the pet girl?
my
of
number one
Sakura-san?
then. Oh
Oh, I thought that was your number one.
no.
No, he
That was
dropped that.
when Slimbo was like, Kifo's gonna know for sure. I was like, oh yeah, I know.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, you didn't say it. Yeah. It's okay. I didn't get my character development, so Slimbo's gonna get my number one, which is Hanasaku Iroha.
Oh, my
Surprise.
favorite 6 out of 10 with good music. I'm just kidding.
It hurts.
It's a good
you
show.
can't say that.
That's
Is
a
it the
good show.
movie or is it?
It's
I'm
a
just
show.
looking at Mel.
No, I didn't put any movies on my top 5.
Oh, here's the show. Okay. Oh, okay. I
you find
recognize the
it?
characters. Yeah.
Yeah, if you play Osu, there's a really popular beat map called Diamond.
Yeah. That's right.
You may have come across this girl.
Yeah.
But don't watch it for that song because you won't hear it. I'll warn you just now.
That's the
It's,
whole
uh,
reason I
it-
watched it. And it wasn't
He's so
there.
mad. The song wasn't there, so he's like, "Yeah, this show sucked." But for me, it holds a really sweet spot. It follows the story of a girl in her teenage years. I think she's in high school. Her name is Ohana, and she is Tokyo born and has been living her life, school, everything there, up until. I should double check her age, but I want to say she's around 14 to 16 years old. Where she suddenly has to move away from her home and goes to live. I'm not sure how far away, but it's in the mountains. So a very drastic change from the Tokyo lifestyle. She now suddenly lives in the mountains with her grandmother, who owns a inn, like a. Is that what they call it? Where you can like sleep there, like a hotel, but not a hotel.
Yeah, it's
You know,
an inn.
like you go there for like services, like
It's an
they'll
inn.
feed you. You know, an inn. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ohana, who has like never experienced this, is a drastic situation where, oh no, all my experiences with life are different now, and my grandmother is really strict. So she has to go through a lot of change in very little time, and I think the way the anime played that like very simple premise, honestly. I think it grew so well that it forever stayed with me as an anime that will stay with me, honestly. It came at a right time for me, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And what Ohana experienced, you know, she has an entourage of people there too. The way the characters are introduced is super simple, right? They work at the inn. They get their progression as well, which is just amazing. They have their own lives, so even though you're not getting screen time with the main character, you're having great development with the other characters. The way it pans out was just amazing for me. I could go into more, but it would spoil things. I'm gonna leave it at that. But for me, it was just a soft spot, and of course it didn't like have crazy scenes like ReZero, but I like having Anasaku Iroha at the top 1 spot because I think it's it's less of a common experience than the ReZero, right? Which is an isekai. You're gonna get a lot of these, which it was exceptional in its right. But I think Anasaku Iroha really took a path that is unique, even though it isn't right. Like it's pretty simple, but I don't know. For me, it was great.
Yeah, it's an interesting pick. There's a bunch here I've never even heard of.
You know, it doesn't quite hit like the Arknights OVA. If I watched that, I think it would probably take my number one spot.
Are you guys watching the Arknights anime?
No.
The OVA only. You said the OVA was good, right? So.
Not Arknights, the Azure Lane.
Oh no!
Oh.
I'm so sorry.
No, take it,
No, that was what you were
I'm
referencing.
so sorry.
No, Arknights is another game, so you're on the right track. It's fine.
I'm on the right track, but I still messed up your top 5. I'm sorry.
Well, Slow Ahead is not an OVA. It is a 12. I don't remember how many episodes it is. It's like 10-minute episodes of Azure Lane girls doing stuff.
See,
That's
I
about
need
it.
that under my belt. You know, maybe I'm just lacking the experience,
I don't know.
Yeah.
which is why Anasaku Iroha ends up at the top. Like if I watched Azure Lane Slowhead, you know,
Yeah,
could end up there.
it's it's a masterpiece of our generation.
Yeah, it'll break your top 5 for sure.
Yeah, the
Right?
scene where they go on the roller coaster, they got me good.
Yeah, man.
I've never seen one of those before in anime.
A roller coaster scene?
A roller coaster, yeah.
Well, it lasts all of about 15 seconds. And,
Oh,
Surely
I
you've
like
seen
that,
a
you
roller
know.
coaster before.
you keep it short so that it really hits, but they don't drag it out. Oh, that's amazing. Just a
No.
short roller coaster scene.
Kifo, you have seen a roller coaster before. You watched The Silent Voice. There's a roller coaster scene.
Ah, damn it.
Go true.
Got him. Let's go.
I mean, I had to put it in my top 5, though. It is the only show that I've pretty much memorized because of how many times I've seen it.
Oh my god.
Except for the jet ski scene, because I forgot to screen record that part, so I didn't realize it was actually in the show, and I never used it in any videos.
Oops.
It's okay. You'll have to rewatch it a few more times to remember what they say exactly in that episode, and you'll be fine.
No, I'm done with clipping anime for videos. But yeah,
So that was my top 5.
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that about wraps it up then. We've been going for 134, or not 100, an hour and 34 minutes.
134 minutes?
Yeah, that did not feel like that long, but that was a good time. Thank you for
Yeah, it was fun.
thank you for coming on, Kifo. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me, guys.
Yeah.
I feel like that was a really good first episode. I feel like that went really well. That was fun.
It
Had
was
fun.
It was definitely better than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
If
Once
I'm
we got
being
into
honest. Yeah. It was a good time.
it. All right. I don't know how to end this, but
You ended like this.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening to the Anime Plaza podcast. I've been Slimbo. He's been Trigger, and our good friend Kifo, the guest.
Hello, thank you.
Thanks for listening. It's been a blast. Next time, who knows? We'll see you later.
Spoilers?
Spoilers. Something happens.
bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.